scuttlebutt of the day here. Oh, God almighty, I swear to God, I'm going to lose it. I swear to God, it's going to happen. Tonight just may be the night. I'm going to blast off into Deep Space Nine, and you're going to hear nothing but dead air because I'm going to stroke out. Unfreaking believable disrespect. The absolute disregard for life. The absolute disregard for Americana that this entire administration has. There is absolutely zero excuse for this. Zero. I mean, my God in heaven, when is it going to stop? Look what they did to our brothers in Benghazi. And still, nobody wants to say anything. The media, they've reported a little bit of it, but what did they really do? Did the media really do their job? Did the FBI do their job? Did the CIA do their job? Did the President do his job? Did the Secretary of State do their job? Secretary of Defense? The Joint Chiefs of Staff, did they do their job? I'm sorry, but these were real Americans, real people that died, human beings. Nobody seems to want to give a damn. I'm sorry, but Chris Stevens, our ambassador. Now, there's a lot of reports, whether it's true or not, we don't know. But we've all seen the pictures. It looks, well, he was burnt to death. Whether he was tortured and raped with a cattle prod or not, the fact is he died needlessly. Tyrone Woods, Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, remember those names? Anybody remember those names? Who? What? Huh? Yeah. Those were real people. They really, really died. They were blown to bits with friggin' mortar fire. And now we've got a Navy SEAL that was killed just Tuesday, just a couple of days ago. Name is Charles Keating IV. He was killed in Iraq. And guess how this president responded? Did you hear that? Yeah, that was called nothing. Silence. That's how he responded. White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest, this creep. Now, I know we've got a couple of callers. Now, I said this earlier. You're going to have to hold off. You're going to have to be patient with me tonight. Okay? I've got a couple of things that I've got a couple of stories that I've got to get out. And your calls are important, but you're going to have to be patient with me, please. I will bring you on, but you're going to have to let me. You're going to have to let me get some of this stuff out first, and I will bring you on. So please, 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 please be patient with me. Okay? It's Josh Earnest. This guy, Ernest. I mean, Ernest. This guy is far from earnest. I mean, this guy is he's creepy. He's creepy. I don't like him. I don't trust him. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a freaking lie. And how this man could actually defend this stuff and get up there every day and defend this administration, I mean, that takes a special kind of evil. I don't have it in me. I don't know how he could do it. I wouldn't do it. That's me. That's just me. I'm a different kind of person. I know. I'm crazy. I'm a whack job. But Josh Earnest stepped up to the podium. This was just yesterday. For the first press briefing. Made absolutely no mention whatsoever about Charles Keating dying until he was asked about it. He had to be prodded. This was from the Washington Free Beacon. He had to be poked and prodded and begged, Talk about this. Talk about this. He didn't even bring it up. This is one of our Americans fighting on the front lines in Iraq. And you can't talk about this? You don't even bring it up? That should be the first thing that you should say. That should be the first thing out of your mouth. We have some very horrible news. One of our Americans was killed today. Did he say that? No. He didn't bring it up. And when he finally did, he says, I can tell you that the president has been briefed on this incident. Incident? 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 Briefed on this incident? Incident? This is not an incident. Okay, the guy didn't fall off the friggin' monkey bars at recess. This is not an incident. How would you call that an incident? What's the matter with you? Incident. That's not an incident. That's disrespectful right there. I can tell you that the president has been briefed on this incident, and everyone here at the White House, including the first family, yeah, I'm sure they're concerned. Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah. Extends our condolences to the family of the service member that was killed today in northern Iraq. Okay, you couldn't mention his name? His name is Charles Keating. You couldn't even mention the guy's name? What? Oh, extends our condolences? Extends our condolences. Then he goes on to say, this individual, he calls him an individual, like he doesn't have a name, this individual, this robot, was the third U.S. service member killed in action since the beginning of Operation Inherent Resolve. And this service member's death reminds us all, service member's death, you couldn't say his name again. He's got a real name, it's Charles Keating. And the service member's death reminds us all of the risks our brave men and women in uniform face every single day. Oh, I mean, that kind of just, that right there, that's right there, that statement right there, I swear to God. Oh my God, that just infuriates me. That infuriates me. The amount of disrespect in that comment. The amount of disregard in that comment is just, it's overwhelming. Well, evidently, this discussion had gone back and forth and pivoted towards the president's refusal to classify the role of U.S. troops in Iraq as combat. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. President, which you've never been in combat, and you've never worn the uniform. Well, let me tell you something. Okay, when you're on the front lines and you've got people shooting at you and you're shooting back, that's combat. Okay? You do not need a declaration of war signed by the friggin' Congress and ratified by the president to be combat. What the hell is the matter with you? You're the one putting these men on the front lines out there, supposedly, to help fight ISIS. You put him out there. You put him on the front lines. And he's out there fighting, getting shot at, and he gets killed. That is combat. That is combat. Why will you not call this combat? Makes no sense to me at all. Well, Defense Secretary Ash Carter reportedly announced Keating's death as combat death. Yet Mr. Ernest, jackass, again tried to paint another narrative when he was called out on it. Of course they do. He says, today's incident, an incident. Again, this is not an incident. He did not fall off the monkey bars in recess. This is not an incident. Today's incident is a vivid reminder of the risks our service members are taking, and some of them, 3 of them now, have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. But the president has been clear, time and time again, exactly what their mission is. What? Well, the mission is to support Iraqi forces on the ground who are taking the fight to ISIS on the front lines. That's combat! He called it ISIL. I will not call it ISIL. It's ISIS. How could you not call that combat? You're going to call it an incident? It's not an incident. It's not an incident. I mean, the absolute disrespect and disregard for not only the American troops, but for America, period, that this administration has. This is the most disgraceful administration in my lifetime. Actually, I've studied a lot of history. I'm not a historian by any stretch, but this is the most disrespectful administration in American history, period. Hands down. I mean, this is just, I mean, how do you do this? How do you say the things that you say, Mr. Ernest? My God, do you not have a heart? Do you not have a brain? What the hell is the matter with you? This is a real human being, for God's sakes. It's a real American. He was a Navy SEAL. He was on the front lines fighting with the, I guess it was the Kurdish forces or whoever. But he's on the front lines. That's combat. I'm sorry. But they don't want to call it combat. They can't call it workplace violence. So they don't say anything at all. And what is this for, huh? To save a couple of bucks so you don't have to pay for a military funeral? Well, it's not your money anyway. It's the taxpayers' money. And I'm pretty sure the taxpayers wouldn't mind spending the money to give this guy military honored funeral. He deserves it. He was on the front line. Where were you? Huh? Where were you, Mr. Obama? You never even put on the uniform. I mean, this is just, beyond disrespectful. Absolutely beyond disrespectful. The man was a real human being. He had flesh, he had blood. He had feelings, he had thoughts, he had a family. Now, here's another thing, and I see you, caller. Hold on, I'm going to get to you in a few minutes. Just hold on. But I got to get this stuff out here. This is pissing me off. Now, here's another thing. This is what really, this is just beyond. It's bad enough that our administration has zero respect and zero regard for our American troops and Americans, period. But now we got the AP, the Associated Press. The Associated Press. Well, this was their headlines. This is their headline. This is the Associated Press. This is how disgusting these people are. This is how repugnant this country has become. This is their headline from the AP. Navy SEAL killed in Iraq was close to disgraced grandfather. What in the hell is that? How in the hell is that a headline? Of course he's going to be close to his grandfather. Who is not close to their family? And what does that have to do with anything? He was on the front lines fighting for you, you little puke. And he gets killed, and then you disrespect him like this by putting a headline in here? Well, if you don't know, Charles Keating Jr. was one of those that went to jail in the 1980s with the savings and loan scandal. All right, he paid his price, he paid his debt to society, and who cares? The man was close to his grandfather. You got to disrespect the man? He was out on the front lines fighting for you, and you disrespect this man this way? What the hell is wrong with you, Associated Press? You're not the press. America, could we please stop disrespecting each other? Can we do that, please? My God. This was a soldier. A soldier. Yeah, I know. He's got a horrible job. He's got a tough job out here. He's got people shooting at him. He never knows what step he's going to take is going to blow his nuggets off from an IED. And you're going to disrespect this man because of his grandfather? Okay, look. Charlie Keating IV was not his grandfather, had nothing to do with the savings and loan scandal in the 1980s. He had nothing to do with it. If he was alive, he was very, 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 very small. He had nothing to do with it. Why would you link him into that? Why would you connect the dots there? Why would you do that? There's no excuse for that. Absolutely no excuse for that whatsoever. All right, we do got a caller that's been on for a while. Now, the caller's got an unlisted phone number. And you're the only unlisted phone number in my queue here right now. So if you've got an unlisted phone number, you're on the air. Good evening.
Asshole! You asshole!
Oh, my God. Where do these people come from? And why do they do that? Why would this person waste his time with this? Why do people do that? Why do you people love to call up this program and do this stuff? If you don't like my program, that's fine. I don't care if you like my program or not. Here's what you do. You put your man panties on, you become an adult, and you go find a show that you do like. But to call my program up and to call me Alex Jones, which if you're going to call me Alex Jones, you're going to compare me to Alex Jones. Okay, all you did was just compliment me. I don't have a problem with that. But I am not Alex Jones. I don't get an opportunity to listen to Alex Jones. I wish I did because I like him. But I don't. I work all day. I start my preparation for my show from the time I get up until the time I go on the air. I don't get any free time. So I don't have time to watch television all day. And I certainly don't have time to call up a radio program and start cussing and calling me names and all of this. I mean, well, why do you people exist? And I think I know who it is. I got a good idea. I've got their other phone number that they used to use. So now they're using fake numbers to call on the show just to prank me. Like, I think, I don't know, are they sitting around with their friends in their underwear masturbating and think that this is funny? This isn't funny. This is another thing. Now we've got citizens who have no respect and no regard for our service members out there fighting for us. And you're going to call this program up and you're going to do this crap? What does that say about America? Well, it says a hell of a lot. I mean, my God, people. Well, maybe you, Mr. Caller Man, who loves to call up this show and prank me. Well, maybe if one of your family members were to be brutally murdered, maybe I'll call you up. And maybe I'll prank you. How would you feel about that? Oh, that'd be a different story. You can't do that. But you're going to call this program up when I'm talking about one of our Navy SEALs who was out there on the front lines, who got brutally murdered, and our entire administration completely disrespected and disregarded his death, called it an incident, would not call it combat. And you're going to call the program up like this? Well, that just shows just what kind of stupid human being that you are. That shows the kind of evil that you are. That shows your lack of character, man. That says more about you than it says about anything else. And there's far too many people in this country that are just like this creep. And we need to get rid of them. All right, we got another number. Now, if you're one of these that is going to be doing a prank, look, I've got a very itchy trigger finger. So if you think you're going to be cute and try to say something smart-assy and try to cuss, I'm just going to hang up on you, okay? You're not going to last very long. So please, I'm just asking you, if you are one of these people, just hang up now, okay? Don't do this. This is a very serious discussion here. This was a real human being that was out on the front lines fighting for us, fighting for the world, as a matter of fact, not just for Americans, but for the world. And ISIS is a worldwide problem. ISIS is not just an American problem. ISIS is a world problem. And we got a jackass that's going to call up on an important discussion like this? I mean, what the hell? Well, he hung up. So obviously he was one of those jerk-offs. Good. Glad you hung up. Who needs you? I mean, my God. Why do we not have, how can we have this little respect for each other in this country? What the hell? I mean, my God, man. Come on. You know, I mean, it really gets to me. This stuff really does get to me. I'm one of these kinds of guys that I get to a point where I only have two choices. Either one, I can cry, or two, I could become a homicidal maniac. Well, I'm not really interested in becoming a homicidal maniac. So sometimes this stuff, yeah, it does bring me to friggin' tears, man. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm a grown man. And sometimes this stuff does bring me to tears. When our own country is disrespecting our service members out there on the front lines, fighting for us, and you can't even call it combat, you call it an incident? An incident? An incident? Again, this is not an incident. He did not fall off the monkey bars at recess. He was in combat. I mean, this administration, I cannot wait to get rid of this administration. As far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry, Barack Obama, but you belong in jail for the rest of your friggin' life. The treason that you have committed, my God, Benghazi, Fast and Furious, IRS, NSA, I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on. And then we get callers that call up and they want to prank this show for talking about this stuff. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely just. I mean, this is what infuriates me. This is why I no longer have a voice. This is why I lost my voice in October and I've yet to get it back.